I'm gonna get into it. Y'all ready? Let's get it. So, welcome to another episode of Stay Vibrant, the podcast. And if you've been rocking with me so far, I truly appreciate you. Let me say that first and foremost. And that's coming from right here, right down in my heart. Um, so today's topic is knowing your worth. And I'm gonna get into how this topic really came about. Um, so I just graduated, right? I'm gonna take you way back to 2016, which is crazy because it's 2021, y'all. It's 2021. Let that sink in. So 5 years ago, I really had to stop and do quick math. But no, 5 years ago, I just graduated and I knew what I wanted to do. I just didn't know how to get there, um, i.e., all of this. So I remember I met with this guy I really looked up to, and he was like a media producer. Um, when I tell you that bro was nice, um, bro was really nice. Like when I tell you bro was nice at media producing, he was really good at it. And what he said still resonates with me to this day. And what he said was, if you're not useful, you're useless. And he took a sip of his Jack and Coke, and it was crazy because we were just talking about, and I was just with me being a graduate from the integrated marketing communication program, I'm going over marketing plans and ideas. He's pulling out his notebook, he's jotting down ideas. He's like, nah, that's some good shit. And he was like, look, if there's anything I'm gonna teach you, if you're not useful, you're useless. And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and it hurt because it's like, dang, here's somebody who means so much to me, right? Somebody I low-key idolize, somebody I wanted to be like, tell me that if I'm not gonna be useful, get the fuck from around me. But at the same time, that still holds so much value, and it's so true. If you have people that are around you that aren't holding value, that don't recognize your worth, fuck out. It's time to get them out. And so what we'll be talking about today is knowing your worth. And that is the title of today's segment, Know Your Worth. What we'll be going over is, how does one recognize their worth? Better yet, what does it look like? And how to gain respect, confidence, all while upholding your morals and values and your truths. Like, you don't want to change yourself for nobody, unless it's for the better. So first off, how does one recognize their worth, right? So your worth is the value, right, that others see in you. It's what they see in you when they interact with you. And it's defined by their level of comfortability with you. After they spent time with you, people can gauge how they feel around you, their comfortability level, and how they'll treat you, how they'll engage with you, how they'll interact with you. And that all, low key, it's all synonymous with what they think you're worth. And when they're challenged by you, either they're going to do one of two things, right? They're going to either A, respect you, right, and conform to who you are as an individual, and not necessarily even conform, because there's a level of mutual respect, right? So not even conform. They're either going to become synonymous with you and what you're looking to attain for your personal self, or they're going to try to not even necessarily destroy you, but they'll try to paint an image of you as an individual, either A, that you're not, or they'll low-key fall back and reserve and stop the things that they're doing. And so that's what you're wanting. That's what you're wanting, especially in interaction with another individual, especially if you hold them near and dear. You know, you spent a lot of time with these individuals, and you ultimately do value the relationship. What you want is to agree to disagree, which that's perfectly fine. Everybody can be opinionated, entitled to what they think and how they feel, or y'all can get on the same page. And we're gonna dive into that. So if you notice like anybody is giving you less than what you deserve, then it's time to, like I said, look at two things. One of the first things you want to look at is yourself, obviously. Always got to do a self-check. Sometimes you smell, you got to smell yourself. You got to check yourself, because sometimes we get big-headed and we forget what's important. We forget the big picture, right? And while we're here doing what we're doing, and we get in a mode of I, me, and this is self-included. That's why I'm actually documenting this, so that way I can look back and say, hey, I'm not perfect. I'm not striving to be perfect. I'm human. I'm gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna make error. As my new mentor says, charge it to my head and not my heart, right? So with that, you gotta look at yourself first. Gotta smell yourself, gotta check yourself, and make sure you're good with you. And if you realize that, okay, self ain't the problem, right? After you seek guidance, counsel, you pray, you meditate, you think on it, then you got to start looking at who's around you, who's in your circle, right? And if their energy and their vibe and what they're aspiring to do and to be doesn't align with what you're looking for, especially on a day-to-day basis, if it becomes like a habit and it's habitual, it's routine, not even day-to-day, right? Every time you interact with this individual, it's just not clicking, right? It's time to do some math. And that'll help you determine how to maneuver with these individuals, right? So life is math. If it's not adding up, you gotta start subtracting, right? Once you start subtracting, you'll notice yourself start to multiply. You'll notice the blessings start to multiply. And then what you can't forget is to divide it amongst those that are closest to you. You share it, you pass it down, right? You say, hey, this is what I learned from this experience. And I have an OG, a mentor figure that I look up to. And when I'm going through things, I'm like, hey man, like, I'm going through some things. Like, I need to get this off my chest. I need to talk to you about it. I need to get your take and your perspective on it. And light flashing on and off. I do type out these posts too, kind of as a guideline. Not necessarily I'm sticking to like a script or anything like that, but just keeps me on track, right? I'm just being open and honest with y'all. And I do thank you for letting me be transparent, right? So with that, my OG, when I'm going through something, when I'm going through, not even something, when we're going through this thing called life, right? Our human experience, right? And at the university I went to, we had this class. It was called the human experience. And now more than ever, I realize how detrimental and how important that class was, because again, a few episodes previously, y'all remember, everybody's perspective is different. And that's my other blog post, Hugo's perspective. It's the way I view things. You agree, you disagree, cool. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I'm not gonna look down. I'm not gonna judge. I'm not gonna make you feel any type of way because of how you think. That's gonna open up my eyes to see different things. But back to the post. When you see things aren't lining up the way they need to, uh, then it's time to make a change. And that's okay. That's a part of life. We grow, we change. Not always for the better, but hopefully and prayerfully for the better, right? Um, Next, I want to talk about how you can gain respect, right? So your worth is so much more than what you're paid for. It's your reputation and it's what it's built on, right? Um, it's when people say your name in a room and what others automatically think about you and perceive you to be. First of all, I don't care what anybody else is thinking about me because I know who I am and I know what I hold true to me. Now, if we have a conversation and you kind of derive your own thoughts and your own narratives, that's fine. But let's not get the facts misconstrued with opinion, right? So one of the first things you can do to ultimately get respect is give respect. Respect gets respect and disrespect gets correction. And that's what my mentor also shared with me coming up as a jit to adulthood, and that always like stuck with me. I don't care if you're the janitor at your local Walmart, CVS, McDonald's, office building. I don't care if you're the CEO. You're gonna get the same level of respect, and that just came from my upbringing. My mom said anybody that's older than you, and so my OG, he's 42, and anyone that is, I would, even if we're in the same like age bracket, like even if it's like a 5 year span, which I'm now 27. So if you're 32 plus, you're getting the yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. You're getting that respect because you've been here and you've seen things, you've experienced things, and you can share with me about life. I remember there was a time back in my day. So if you can share that with me and I can learn from you, I can grow from you, even with my peers, you still get that respect first. You're gonna get that yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, no sir. You're gonna get that respect first. And that's just being a good human being. That's our human experience. And that's how we can live together and coincide. Respect first. I feel like it's respect over beliefs, first and foremost, right? The second thing we need to be is slow to speak and quick to hear. And that's just communication 101. I want to hear what you're telling me so I can register it and make an informed decision on what you're saying to me, whether I believe it to be fact or opinion. I can look this up, and there are many other stories that attest to what you're saying, or if this is bias, right? And three, again, I'll run it back. A difference of opinion is okay, y'all. That's fine. If we disagree, if we're not on the same page, if you believe the total polar opposite of what I believe, that's okay. Because again, we weren't born in the same household. We weren't raised the same way. That's fine. But at the same time, what you're not going to do is try to influence or persuade me, because I'm going to stand on my word and what I said, and what I say, I mean. And the last part that I'll be going over here is the confidence, how to build that confidence in oneself. And a lot of our confidence has been destroyed as children growing into adulthood. We become so timid and so scared. Now, if you're an introvert by nature, that's different. Introverts, And not being confident are not the same thing at all. So an introvert is one who is comfortable with oneself, who doesn't need to be in an environment or setting interacting with other individuals. We can navigate on our own. And I say we because I am an introvert. I stick to myself a lot. I don't venture outside of myself or what I'm comfortable with. But at the same time, that challenges growth. So that's one of the things I have been challenging myself to do, is to step out and to venture, to explore new horizons, right? That's what challenges growth. The confidence piece comes where you are in a setting or in an environment and you didn't speak up or speak on your own behalf. That's where the confidence piece comes in, because you have to be comfortable in your own skin to be able to relay how you're feeling, relay your message. Your voice does matter. And so there's a difference, and there's a thin line between cockiness and confidence, right? So confidence, and these are just Webster dictionary definitions. Confidence is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. It's a firm trust. All right. Cockiness is conceited self-assurance. So I'm like, okay, so conceited. Conceited is excessively proud of oneself and vain. It's that shallow, I know, I said, I think. And again, it's the pride factor, right? So pride is a feeling of deep pleasure or satisfaction derived from one's own achievements, right? The achievements of those with whom one is closely associated, or from qualities or possessions that are widely admired. So my OG always shared with me, after pride comes the fall, or before pride comes the fall. And there's nothing wrong with being proud of things, right? So let me break that down. So your heritage, your beliefs, those are things to be proud of. I'm a proud black man. I'm proud of where my people came from. I'm proud of how far that we've come. I'm proud of the fact that I was born to a single mother and I became the man that I am today. I'm proud of that, right? But where pride can get derived from that cockiness is when you don't know something, right? You don't know all of the facts, but you begin spouting them off as if it is true. And that becomes detrimental, because what that leads to ultimately is stupidity and ignorance, because now you're just talking on something that you don't know. And the goal is for the betterment of mankind, right? It's for the generations that are after us. It's for the betterment of our future. Like, our goal is to progress as humanity. It's not to stay stagnant. It's not to stay stuck in these old colonial times. It's not to stay stuck in a one-track mindset. It's to grow, it's to learn, it's to adapt. So that way we can pass it on to the next generation, and they are able to improve upon what we've already accomplished, right? It's for those that come after us. And those are just a few of the tidbits of knowing your self-worth, your confidence, and how to gain respect. Please definitely like, comment, subscribe, share with me what you think, what you feel. And today's post was definitely inspired by a few factors. It was in fact inspired by a blog post called 20 Things You Realize When You Know Your Worth. and it's a perspective from a woman's point of view. So I know a lot of my female viewers and listeners will definitely appreciate that. And she just lists 20 things that let you know your worth and when you recognize your worth. And she chose to remain anonymous. Her name is Beyond the Sea, and in the actual post, there's a hyperlink. You can click on it. You can read the post. That way you can see what you agree with and what you don't. The second one, which kind of stuck out to me a little bit more, which it was just a little deeper for me. It wasn't 20 things. It was just short. It was concise. It was quick. It was to the point. It was Morton Patterson's 7 signs that you know your value and your worth. And again, both of these pieces are really influential in what inspired this post. Both hit the nail on the head exactly for what I was looking for with this post. So with Morton Patterson's post, and I'll even share a few of the posts that Beyond the Sea shared as well. But back to Morton Patterson, the 7 pieces that he shared in knowing your value and your worth, right? So the first one is to have a positive self-esteem, right? So with having a positive self-esteem, it's waking up, it's being comfortable with your abilities, and it's saying, this is who I am, and this is how I impact the world, right? The second one is saying that you recognize that you make a difference, right? And one of the things that really started helping me recognize I made a difference was I started journaling, right? And this is my gratitude journal, my peace journal, my hope journal. And in this journal, I just write down everything. It is the physical manifestation of my thoughts. When you recognize you make a difference on somebody's life, you impact somebody's life, it really changes your perspective on how you carry yourself and how you act. And the next one that he shared was you see yourself as a peer. So first and foremost, anybody in the same age bracket as me, and I'll give myself the 25 to 30. Well, hell, I'll even say 22 to 30, because we're maturing faster nowadays, right? I'm not gonna look at you as a jit. So a jit, that's just, I'm gonna define that. So a jit is just somebody who's younger, who doesn't have life quite figured out yet. They're still going through the motions, right? So a jit is just somebody who's going through the motions, learning life. I'm not gonna look at you, again, 22 to 30 as somebody I can give advice to. I'm gonna look at you as a peer. The next one here is you do not undercharge yourself for your services. So, and I had to learn that the hard way. I sold my car back in 2015, 16. And the gentleman I sold my car to just looked and was like, you sure that's the price you want to sell it for? And he gave me additional compensation like for it. But that was just something that I had to go through and I had to learn. And I was like, okay, being a sales agent at that, a master sales agent at that, I let my emotions blind me from what I was actually providing. And so that was just a lesson in life to say, hey, don't undercharge yourself. You said what you said and stick to the prices, right? The next one here that he has, which is self-worth value number 5. You are clear about your values. You're clear about what you stand on, what you believe, and what you believe to be true. And I'll even take it a step further. The individuals that surround you, what their thought process should be as well. So the type of guys I surround myself with are money motivated, hungry, young, healthy, active, and ultimately that's just what I want to instill and incorporate in my daily life. And the last one, and of course there are many other values that go with that. Individuals who challenge themselves, who are educated, who read on a daily basis, who think about getting to the next level, not just being fine with mediocre. So I appreciate y'all boys, really. Shout out them boys, and shout out to Wolfpack too. Y'all some real ones. And the last value here for self-worth, which is number 6, you are engaged in work that is exciting and fulfilling, and I feel like I've made it to that level or that stage. And if you're not there yet, that's okay. You're gonna get there. Doing the things that you want, being excited to wake up in the morning, and being fulfilled when you lay down at night. And it took a minute for me to get there, to figure out what it is I want to do and how I want to impact people's lives. Outside of this posting, my 9 to 5 actually is everything I wanted and more. And I'm just thanking God for the opportunities that He's bestowed upon me thus far, and what the universe has granted me thus far. And I just leave it up to that. I already know how to maneuver, and every door that's placed in front of me, I'm not knocking, I'm opening. I'm knocking those doors down. I'm taking advantage of the opportunities that are given to me, because opportunities aren't given, they're taken, really. And that's just what Mr. Morton, and again, I'm calling you Mr. Morton, that's just out of respect. Morton Patterson, his post, and again, it's in the hyperlink, the URL. You can check him out and see how his take and his perspective on those type of things, right? And his values and his morals when it comes to self-worth. Self-worth. Yeah, I said that right. The next one here, Beyond the Sea. She listed 20, of which if I went over 7, Mr. Morton there, Patterson, I'll at least go over 5 to 7 of hers. So with Beyond the Sea, when you know your worth, you're selective and choosy, because settling isn't an option. And that is a phenomenal statement. Don't settle for less than what you're worth. You know your worth. Add tax to that. Multiply that. When you know your worth, you take pride in your work. And this is another example of taking pride. This is the blood, sweat, and tears that I put into this work. This is what I was able to produce. And what I was able to produce was able to impact the lives of so much more. It says when you, and this is, I just picked the middle paragraph, which is 13 through 20, and I'll stop here. When you know your worth, you don't let your weakness define you. We all know our weaknesses, and that's actually one of the things I wrote down in my gratitude journal, right? You got to know your strengths, you got to know your weaknesses, so that way others don't play on your weaknesses, and you can recognize when you're being weak, and you know how to strengthen that weakness, right? You know how to make a callus around it, so that way it's not cold-hearted. However, it's recognizable when someone is trying to exploit your weakness for their own personal gain. We're not doing that. When you know your worth, your trust you trust yourself and your decisions, right? So when you know your worth, literally what she said, you trust yourself and your decisions. Like, I'm not settling again for less. I trust myself. I'm gonna choose me. I know how to maneuver, and if I do encounter a situation where I don't know how to maneuver or interact, or if I do make a decision where I'm not comfortable with the ultimate result, you know how to bounce back from it. That's resilience. Or it's just a lesson. Ain't no losses. We take lessons around here, not losses. Um, 18. When you know your worth, you don't need to be constantly reassured. When you know your worth, you don't worry about what the next man got. Next, worry about what little Sally Sue down the road got. She just got new bands. I don't care about that. That's fine. Because I know what's for me is for me. And what I'm able to get, I will get. Like, nothing will stop me from achieving my goals, my accomplishments. Like, once I put my mind to something, there's no stopping it. And not just me saying I. You. These are the things you should think. You should build that mental stability and toughness to say, I can do this. I'm sorry if this video is a little longer than the others, but this is some really good stuff here, y'all. Number 19, when you know your worth, you know your time is valuable, and only give it to those who deserve it. You gotta stop making time for part-time, for people who are unsure, for things that are uncertain. Make time for the things that are certain. Make time for the people who are certain and who add value to your life. It's levels. The goal is to level up again. And last one here I'll go over is number 20, right? When you know your worth, you believe the right person will see it too. And so with that one, that's the only one I kind of stumble upon, because you can know your worth and you can put in the work and you can be the best you can be and still be overlooked. But again, what she does say, which I'll tie it back, is the right person will see it. Hey, I see your effort. I see your energy. I appreciate what you're doing. Keep going. And then sometimes you just have to change the setting and the narrative yourself. You have to change who you're around. So that way your effort will be noticed. And again, those are just a few tidbits there. Again, she has 20. I went over like 7. And Mr. Morton Patterson, again, thank you for being an inspiration for this post as well. Beyond the Sea, thank you for being an inspiration for this post. Y'all like, share, subscribe, tell me what you think, tell me how you feel, and yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Stay vibrant, my friends.